In a world where noise is constant and distraction is disguised as urgency, I invite you to consider a rare and powerful idea, the art of being unshaken. To walk through storms with your head held high, to face critics with a smile, and to answer chaos not with reaction, but with calm, deliberate silence. This is not about pretending problems don't exist. No, it's about cultivating such an inner stillness, such unwavering clarity of purpose that no wind, no word, and no whisper can knock you off course. There is a great myth that strength lies in outward displays of force, but I tell you now, real power is silent. It is invisible. It's the ability to walk through fire and leave no ashes. You must learn to act as if nothing bothers you, not because you feel nothing, but because you've trained your mind to respond, not react. Every time you do, you become less of a puppet of the world and more a master of your fate. This is not detachment, this is discipline, and when you grasp it, you don't just gain peace, you gain power. Mastering emotional discipline is the foundation of mental strength. It is not merely the ability to suppress emotions, but rather the power to control how you channel them. Emotional discipline is the quiet inner force that allows you to remain composed when the world expects you to crumble. It is what separates those who react from those who respond, those who fall victim to circumstance from those who shape it. When a person acts as if nothing bothers them, it is not because they are numb. It is because they have trained their mind to rise above the noise. Every man and woman who has achieved greatness has at some point stood at the edge of emotional chaos. The world pressed in, emotions ran high, and the temptation to lash out, give in, or collapse under pressure was strong. But the mind trained in discipline does not allow momentary emotions to dictate permanent outcomes. Emotional discipline is a decision repeated until it becomes identity. It is forged through trials, developed in silence, and strengthened by setbacks. When the average person explodes in anger or folds in frustration, the disciplined one stands firm, not out of arrogance, but out of control. The most successful individuals do not escape emotional turmoil. They have fears, doubts, and frustrations like anyone else, but they do not feed them. They do not give those emotions control over their behavior. Instead, they observe their emotions, understand their origins, and make conscious decisions based on their purpose, not their pain. They understand that emotions are messengers, not masters. And because they have this understanding, they hold power over their reactions, their focus, and ultimately their fate. There is a great lie in the world that says strength is shown through expression of emotion in the heat of the moment. But the truth is, strength is in restraint, to feel deeply and act wisely. That is true maturity. Emotional discipline is not weakness, it is mastery. It is the ability to feel the rise of anger and choose silence. It is the power to feel insulted and respond with grace. It is the inner certainty that you are bigger than your current discomfort, that no temporary emotion will be allowed to hijack your long-term vision. This kind of discipline requires work. It requires training the mind like a muscle, daily, deliberately, with patience. It begins with awareness, catching yourself in the moment, stepping back and choosing a better response. And with time, it becomes second nature. The world may not change, but your power to navigate it will. The critics will still talk, the failures will still sting, the setbacks will still arrive, but none of them will shake the foundation you have built. Because emotional discipline, once mastered, becomes a shield. It does not make you cold, it makes you composed. It does not strip you of emotion, it puts you in command of it. And when you reach this place, you no longer just survive life, you direct it. Calmness under pressure attracts power, trust, and leadership. It is one of the rarest qualities found in people, yet one of the most valuable. In a world that constantly seeks reaction, calmness is rebellion. It is control. It is the quiet authority that speaks volumes without saying a word. When everything around you is screaming for urgency, panic, and fear, the person who remains composed becomes the anchor everyone else looks toward. That person becomes a pillar in the storm, a leader not by title, but by presence. In business, in relationships, in life, people do not follow those who panic. They follow those who maintain their posture under pressure. They trust the one who does not flinch when stakes are high. Think of the battlefield of the mind. When confusion reigns and anxiety mounts, the one who remains calm is the one who thinks clearly. Clear thought leads to clear action, and clear action leads to victory. This calm is not a natural gift for most. It is a discipline, trained and honed in moments when others choose to lose control. Understand this. Chaos is the great revealer. It does not create character. It exposes it. And if you can maintain your peace when things go wrong, it means you have built something within that the world cannot shake. You do not need to talk over others. You do not need to prove your strength with raised voices or harsh words. True calmness is magnetic. It draws respect without demand. It silently communicates, I know who I am and I will not be moved. This power attracts more than respect, it attracts influence. People naturally seek out the composed during times of uncertainty. They want direction, assurance, and belief. Calm leaders provide all three. Why? Because their inner world is not dependent on outer circumstances. Their clarity is not shaken by the noise of opinion or the fog of fear. They understand that panic solves nothing, and urgency without strategy leads to disaster. So they breathe, they observe, and they act, not because they are without fear, but because they know fear cannot lead. Leadership is not about commanding others. It begins with commanding yourself. If you cannot lead your own emotions, you will always be a follower of your environment. Calmness allows you to stand firm in your convictions, to see clearly when others see only confusion, and to speak wisdom when others shout nonsense. This does not mean suppressing feelings or becoming cold. It means elevating above emotion long enough to see the truth of a situation and respond with purpose, not panic. Even in personal relationships, calmness is a superpower. When others push your buttons or try to pull you into emotional games, your calmness disarms them. It removes their control. You're no longer predictable. You no longer react the way they expect. And in that stillness, you hold all the power. It sends a message louder than any words. I am not under your control. I am under my own. Think of every person who's left a lasting impression on history. Whether in politics, invention, science, or social change, they were all marked by this same trait. They did not cave under pressure. They did not allow the opinions of the masses to alter their mission. They remained calm when things were falling apart, and because of that, others followed them. The world gave them a place of influence, not because they asked for it, but because they embodied it. This is the law of attraction in motion. Calmness emits the frequency of leadership. It signals, I've got this, even when challenges arise. It tells your team, your family, your peers that you are grounded, that they are safe to trust your decisions, and most importantly, that you do not allow the moment to control the mission. You have chosen to operate from a higher mindset, one where reaction is replaced by resolve and fear by focused action. But don't be fooled. This kind of calm must be earned. It must be built with repetition. You gain it by staying grounded during arguments, by breathing instead of breaking, by pausing before reacting. It is a quiet, consistent commitment to self-mastery. It will not make you louder, but it will make you heard. It will not make you forceful, but it will make you powerful, because in the end, the world trusts the one who trusts themselves. To act as if nothing bothers you is not to fake calmness. It is to develop real inner strength. It is to rise above the storm with stillness in your eyes. When others are losing their way, you will lead them, not by shouting, but by simply showing what composure looks like. And in that presence, you will command rooms, guide decisions, and shape outcomes. Because calmness under pressure is not just admirable, it is essential to power. Reactions are choices. Control them and you control your destiny. This is one of the most liberating truths a person can ever grasp. You are not a slave to your emotions, your impulses, or your environment. You have within you the power to pause, to think, and to choose how you will respond to any situation. And that single choice, repeated over time, becomes the architect of your future. Most people go through life in reaction mode. They are triggered, provoked, and thrown off course by the slightest disturbance. But the ones who rise to the top, the leaders, the achievers, the visionaries, are the ones who understand that response is power and reaction is a weakness that must be mastered. Every great success is built on a series of wise decisions, and those decisions are only possible when you've trained your mind to respond rather than react. Reacting is instinctual. It comes from a place of emotion, of fear, of past pain. But responding is deliberate. It is guided by purpose. It is the product of a calm mind and a focused spirit. When you learn to pause between stimulus and response, you create space for wisdom to enter. In that space, you gain freedom, the freedom to direct your own path rather than be pushed around by life's temporary chaos. The chaos Let this truth settle deeply. No one can make you react. You allow it. You give them permission through your lack of self-control, and in doing so, you give away your power. The person who can trigger you owns you. The situation that can rattle you controls you. But when you reclaim the ability to choose your response, you become untouchable. You're no longer a puppet of the world. You are the master of yourself. And that mastery is the beginning of greatness. Imagine the power of choosing silence in the face of provocation, of choosing grace instead of retaliation, of choosing focus over frustration. These choices are not signs of weakness. They are proof of strength, because anyone can react, but few can rule over their reactions. It is easy to explode when you're angry. It is natural to blame, to lash out, to give in to the pressure, but it is supernatural to remain still. It is godlike to remain intentional, and it is transformational to stay aligned with your values when emotions scream otherwise. Reactions once repeated become patterns. Patterns become habits. Habits shape identity, and your identity defines your future. So every time you react from impulse rather than intention, you reinforce a version of yourself that is not in control. But every time you choose a higher path, you shape a future rooted in wisdom and strength. The world will never stop testing you. People will lie, circumstances will frustrate you, and emotions will rise. But you must remember, your power lies not in changing the world around you, but in mastering the world within you. Think about it. If your peace can be stolen by a rude comment, an unexpected setback, or someone else's behavior, how strong is that peace? If your joy depends on how others treat you, then you are always at their mercy. But if you can train yourself to remain composed, if you can become the kind of person who acts instead of reacts, then no one can steal your power. You become the calm in the storm. You become the one others look to when things fall apart. Because you don't just move with the world, you move through it with purpose. And here's the real secret. Acting as if nothing bothers you is not about pretending. It's not about becoming emotionless or detached. It's about recognizing your triggers and refusing to let them control you. It's about acknowledging your feelings without being owned by them. When something upsets you, you don't deny it. You step back, breathe, observe, and then choose your next move. That's not suppression. That's strategy. And strategy is what wins wars, not emotion. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't need to prove yourself in every conflict. When you control your reactions, you conserve energy. You protect your peace. You gain time to think, to assess, to grow. That's how you stay ahead, not by being louder, but by being wiser. And with every wise decision, your destiny bends in your favor. The person who can govern their reactions can govern their life. They don't get caught in drama. They don't waste time on revenge. They rise above, not to feel superior, but because their purpose is too important to be dragged down by the petty. You must see yourself this way, not as someone who is easily shaken, but as someone whose power lies in restraint. The quiet ones who move with intention often hold the greatest influence. When you fully embrace the truth that your reactions are your responsibility, you take back everything the world tried to steal from you. Your time, your energy, your clarity, and in that space of calm control, you find a version of yourself that is untouchable, unstoppable, and truly free. True confidence is forged in silence, not in reaction. It does not shout. It does not need to be loud. It does not seek to prove itself at every turn. Real confidence is calm, composed, and self-contained. It is the quiet knowing, not the loud boasting. When you learn to act as if nothing bothers you, it's not arrogance, it's awareness. It's the recognition that nothing external can shake the truth of who you are internally. This is the kind of confidence that does not rise and fall with other people's opinions. It does not shrink in criticism, and it does not swell in praise. It stays steady because it is rooted, not borrowed. In a world addicted to validation, where people scramble for likes, attention, and approval, the individual who walks in quiet confidence becomes a rare force. Why? Because they do not chase, they attract. They don't beg to be noticed. They are noticed because they don't need to be. That's the paradox of real confidence. The less you need to prove, the more others believe in you, because confidence is not in the words, it's in the energy, it's in the eyes, it's in the way you walk into a room, not demanding respect, but commanding it. And you only develop that kind of presence through silence, through discipline, through learning to sit with your own thoughts and be unshaken by the noise around you. Anyone can react, anyone can argue, anyone can flex, but only a few have the strength to observe without responding, to endure without explaining, to win without showing the scoreboard. These are the quiet conquerors, the ones who let their results speak instead of their emotions. You see, insecurity speaks first. Insecurity needs to be heard. It wants to be seen. It needs applause. But confidence waits. Confidence listens. Confidence smiles when others doubt, not because it's blind to reality, but because it's already seen the outcome. It knows what it carries. It doesn't need permission to act, nor validation to believe. That is the kind of self-trust that it is built not by reacting to everything around you, but by mastering everything within you. Every time you hold your peace in a heated moment, you grow stronger. Every time you choose not to argue when someone disrespects you, you prove to yourself that your value does not depend on their recognition. Every time you walk away from chaos, you affirm your own inner stability. And slowly, that stability hardens into confidence. Not temporary bravado, but real, immovable self-belief. This is not the confidence that rises and falls with mood swings. This is not the confidence that evaporates when the room goes quiet. No, this is the kind of confidence that endures the silence, that thrives in solitude, that smiles at the storm because it knows what it's made of. You do not owe anyone an emotional performance to prove you're powerful. Your stillness is your power. Your silence is your strength. And when you know who you are, you no longer need to react to what you are not. Real confidence is not needing to convince anyone of anything. It is simply living in alignment with what you already know to be true. You don't need to defend your choices when they are rooted in integrity. You don't need to explain your vision when it's backed by clarity. You don't need to prove your worth when it's already been earned through inner work. And make no mistake, confidence is not given, it's earned. Earned in those lonely hours when no one is watching. Built in the moments when you resist the urge to lash out, to post back, to clap back, to react. Every time you resist those temptations, you are chiseling a deeper level of control. And that control becomes character. That character becomes certainty. And that certainty becomes confidence. When others are rattled, you remain centered. When others are fighting to be seen, you stay focused on the mission. And when others are busy reacting to life, you are quietly building a life that needs no defense. This is the long game, and it requires a strong foundation. But once built, it cannot be shaken. People will wonder how you remain so calm, how you walk with such conviction, how you carry yourself without apology. And they will call it mystery, they will call it presence, but it is nothing more than practiced confidence, a quiet fire built from years of mastering your own emotions. Confidence is not in how you react when people praise you, it's in how you stand when they doubt you. It's in how you carry yourself when no one is clapping. It's in how you believe even when no one else does. And it all begins in the silence. When you learn to hold that silence, to walk with certainty in an uncertain world, you unlock a power far greater than reaction. You embody the kind of unshakable presence that doesn't just survive adversity, it thrives. This is what it means, to act as if nothing bothers you. It's not indifference, it's not ego, it's mastery. It's the high ground. And from that high ground, the view is clear, the path is yours, and your confidence is unbreakable. To act unbothered is to operate from a place of purpose, not ego. It's not a performance, it's a position, a mental posture that says, I know where I'm going, and I won't be distracted by what doesn't align with that mission. Most people live in reaction to the world around them. They are tossed around by comments, criticism, and the constant need to prove themselves. But when you operate from purpose, your focus sharpens, your direction becomes clear, and suddenly, things that used to irritate you, drain you, or throw you off track lose all their power because your energy is too valuable to be spent on things that don't move you forward. Ego is loud. It needs attention. It needs validation. It wants to win the argument, be right and be seen. But purpose is silent and still. It doesn't waste time arguing. It's too busy building. When you're grounded in purpose, you don't need to clap back. You don't need to entertain drama. You're not living to be liked. You're living to fulfill a vision, and that vision becomes your compass. It governs your choices, your reactions, your presence. That's the real reason some people seem unbothered. It's not because they don't feel, it's because they've prioritized what matters over what distracts. Every time you react from ego, you lose momentum. You take your eyes off the goal and place your energy into defending yourself, proving your worth, or silencing critics. But every time you respond from purpose, you protect your power. You stay aligned. You move with intention. That's why the most focused people are often mistaken for being cold or aloof. They simply no longer respond to everything. They've outgrown the need to be right in the moment and chosen instead to be right in the long run. Operating from purpose means you've already answered the most important question: why am I doing this? And once that question is answered, distractions become obvious. You stop reacting to every comment because you realize not every comment deserves your energy. You stop chasing recognition because you're already fulfilled by the mission. You stop fearing failure because you understand that purpose carries you even through setback. The noise gets quieter not because it stops, but because you've risen above it. And that's the great irony. The quieter you become in your spirit, the louder your impact becomes in the world. You walk into rooms differently. You speak only when needed. You listen more than you explain. You don't flinch when misunderstood because you trust the long-term outcome. You are no longer fighting battles that don't matter. And because of that, your life gains momentum. You conserve energy for the things that produce results. You don't sweat the small stuff because you're too busy building something big. There will always be people who misunderstand you, doubt you, criticize you. There will always be voices that try to shake you, provoke you, or pull you back into the realm of reaction. But when you are living on purpose, you are no longer playing their game. You're playing the game of legacy, and legacy doesn't care about clapping back. Legacy doesn't waste energy on arguments. Legacy is built in silence by those who know how to act unbothered, not because they are avoiding reality, but because they are devoted to something higher than themselves. This is what it means to walk in power, not to dominate, but to remain unmoved, not to react to everything, but to choose your battles with wisdom, not to chase attention, but to create impact. That is the difference between ego and purpose. Ego shouts, "Look at me." Purpose whispers, "Let's build something greater." And when you live by purpose, you no longer perform for the crowd, you build for the cause. That level of mental strength is available to anyone willing to do the work. It starts by asking yourself, what am I really here for? And then aligning your daily behavior to that answer. Every choice becomes a test. Do you want short-term satisfaction or long-term growth? Do you want to win this argument or win the bigger game? Do you want to react or do you want to rise? You'll find that when you choose to act as if nothing bothers you, what you're really doing is filtering what's worth your attention. You are no longer reacting from insecurity. You are responding from clarity. You are no longer seeking to control every situation. You are trusting the process because your purpose is stronger than your fear. And once you get to that place, you become unstoppable. You are no longer moved by opinions. You are not defined by applause or rejection. You are rooted, and from that rooted place, your impact expands effortlessly. The storms still come, the pressure still rises, but you stay grounded, not because you're better than anyone else, but because you've made a decision to protect your energy, to stay aligned with your purpose, and to never again let ego dictate your behavior. That's what separates those who merely chase goals from those who fulfill their destiny. Act as if nothing bothers you, not because you don't care, but because you care too much about what truly matters. And once you do that, your life becomes a statement of purpose, clear, powerful, and unstoppable.